Good evening, and in some cases, good morning. Welcome to Inspire You, an empowerment initiative spearheaded by the Noel Foundation in collaboration with Cardinal Services LLC. The Inspire You concept has been part of the Noel Foundation's Observers of International Women's Month for a number of years. This year, the launch of the Women in Business International, Sonia Noel has joined forces with the incredible Dr. Sabeeta Bidasie Singh to fortify their collective strengths in reaching a wider cross-section of women entrepreneurs and a larger global audience. The mission is to connect women entrepreneurs and female-owned businesses to international markets. I am Richard Young, your host for this evening, this morning's exhilarating discourse of Inspire You 2022. I have the pleasure of speaking with some extraordinary, exemplary, exceptional women from around the globe who are going to share their expertise, their knowledge, their wisdom, and experiences to impact and influence the way we forge our futures. At the end of this discussion, we hope to encourage, to empower, to inspire you to create opportunity and build capacity. One thing in common is that all these women are trailblazers, game changers, thought leaders who have chosen to be change agents to push human development, to push social transformation, and to bring about creative and technological entrepreneurship with women in mind, but with sustainable practice and development for future generations. I hope we feel energized, invigorated, and motivated at the end of this phenomenal communing. I'm honored. I'm humbled. Let me introduce you to my guests. I start with Dr. Sabeeta Bidasie Singh. She is in Houston, Texas, and she's part of Cardinal Services LLC. So I'm just going to give you their names right now because I'm going to come back into what they do and what they're about. We have Mireille Toulekima, who is she is in Australia. We have Sonia Noel. We have Sarona Samaroo. We have Dr. Natasha Gaskin Peters. We have Dr. Auliana Poon, and we have Dr. Sofia Mohammed. Some of these women are up in the morning, and some of us are from Germany, Australia, Houston, Texas, Trinidad and Tobago, and Guyana. Ladies, welcome to Inspire You. How are you feeling?
Inspired.
Inspired, yes. Good word.
Energetic.
Absolutely.
Right. Well, what I did to start this thing off is that I took the word inspire and I decided that we're going to use it as an acronym to get the blood running in our veins and to get us all talking. Because all of us interface with the word inspire in different ways. I'm going to start it off with a few words and then I'm going to pitch into some of you all to give me your feelings about it. We go with I. I have a few words. We have innovate, we have imaginative, we have inventive, we have taking the initiative. Hold on, I'm not letting you all talk yet. N. N is for networking. Networking comes quite up. And Dr. Poon says, not about your net worth, but about networking, because sometimes all we want to do is count the dollar and to kind of evaluate people based on their money instead of what they contribute. So we're coming back. F, we have sustainability, which is the topic of the day and all about saving planet Earth. P, profit, but I think it's more about a profit for development and not just a profit in the bank. Okay? And passion for P. I for invest, creating great impact and influence. R for all the words like reinvent, reimagine, re-inspire, and E for entrepreneurship, education, and empowerment. I'm kicking it off with you. Let me go. Any, many, many more. I'm going to go with Sarona. Give me your vibe about this acronym. Just grab one of the letters and give us your take on it so that our women out there and our people out there, because as much as we are doing women empowerment, it's all about human development. It's all about making sustainable development choices for our future generation. We know that it is International Women's Month, so we want to leave here with our women of the world feeling that we cater to them. So Sarona,
Thank you, Richard, for that lovely introduction. And good evening to all these beautiful and brilliant ladies here today, as well as all of our viewers. I will go with the letter N, and I know you said networking. And one saying that always stands out to me is I always see this on social media, and I'm sure our viewers can resonate with it. Show me your 5 friends and calculate the net salaries of each of them. And the total of that, when you divide it, is what your worth can be. So it's all about your right network and having the right allies and mentors around you. And once you find the right allies and mentors early on, academically, professionally, personally, they help you see that hope inside of you and inspire that fire inside of you to go out and be the one in a million when no matter how highly stacked the odds may be. So I totally comply and agree with the networking because I've seen it in my life where I had mentors at ages and in different capacities in my life. And they have shaped who I have become. I have a piece of them in me wherever I go. And in everything I learn from them, I try to pass that and impart that on to people who come after me.
Wow. And I chose Sarona not by accident. I think Sarona might be the youngest one on the panel. And she is the vice president of recruitment and manpower at Dorado Offshore. And worked in Malaysia, was just one woman on a team of men working in Malaysia in the energy sector, which is really, really a powerful thing and a real glass ceiling breaker. So that's why I started with her. Now I want to go, now I'm going to shift. I'm not going to stay age. I don't like things looking too predictable. I don't like it chronological. I want to go to Auliana because I want to talk about passion. I want to talk about passion because I work with Auliana at Live Global in Tobago in one of the events that they do there. And when we met, it was passion for passion, play passion, as we say in this part of the world. I found I found my alter ego. And so I want you to talk about passion and share what passion does in your life and how it influences you.
Thank you, Richard, and good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. It's really a pleasure to be here, and thanks for inviting me. I agree with you, Richard. Passion is one of the most important ingredients for success. If you're passionate about life, about what you do, about your work, about your business, about your community, about your family, you could never fail. And you have to believe this. And I want to give an example of the current war in Europe. You know that Ukraine and Russia is at war at the moment, right? Russia is about 10 times in terms of the income more than Ukraine. It's probably about 100 times bigger in terms of the military might. Russia, of course, believed that Ukraine would be a walkover. They'd conquer them in a week. But there's this week number 7. But there's a big difference between people who are paid to fight and people who are passionate about their country and passionate about freedom. And some people say that Putin has already lost because he can never, ever win the hearts and minds of the Ukrainians. And what's the moral of the story here? If you're passionate about what you do, half of the battle is won. You'll succeed at all odds, against all odds. And remember that if you're passionate about what you do, you will never work a day in your life because everything you do will be joyful. So be passionate, love what you do, love who you are, and you will always win.
And she's a very humble soul, I'll tell you. She was the first person to get a doctorate in technology and tourism in the world. I'm not telling you in the world. And she has brought tourism intelligence as part of our balance. And we talk about, she has something called Exceptional Caribbean, where she constantly spawns information on the excellence in the Caribbean to give us cultural confidence. And I applaud her for that. She heads Live Global, and she's an economist of repute, and my dear friend. I move right over now to Dr. Gaskin Peters. Dr. Gaskin Peters, what letter in this inspire word are you going to grab, and what are you going to say about it that is going to impact our listeners?
Thank you, Richard, and thank you for having me as part of the panel with these beautiful and intelligent ladies here that we have here this evening. I'm going to grab entrepreneurship. One of my favorites, taking on the risk, and especially entrepreneurship as it relates to women and getting more and more women into that particular field. As you are aware, globally, while we've been seeing growth in entrepreneurship as it relates to women owned businesses, there still remains a gap. It comes from our history, it comes from culture, it comes from a lot of social norms that are embedded. And so here in Guyana, we're really breaking the barrier. I know Sonia has been doing a lot of work as it relates to women in business. At the Center for Local Business Development, we also are inspiring women through our Accelerator program, encouraging them through mentorship, encouraging them through business coaching, and really, seeing that tremendous growth, the confidence that they're building in country. And so for me, entrepreneurship, though it's new to a lot of women, I would say it's still quite new. It's a very important field. It's one that can transform our economy, and it's one in which we have been seeing great potential unleashed from the women here in Guyana, and I think globally. And on this platform, we have quite a few, women entrepreneurs that are represented here. So it's a word that I love. And because of the risk taking embedded within it and putting that together with women, I think it just goes tremendously.
Great. So from one economist, Dr. Poon, to another economist, Dr. Gaskin Peters. She's the director of Center for Local Business Development in Guyana, and she's assisting the local companies in entering the oil and gas field. So it's a really, really poignant position, particularly with this whole resurgence of Guyana on the global scene with oil and gas. And I'm going way over to Mireille Toulekima.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I love the name. From Gabon in Africa, but she resides in Australia, and she has a trailblazing history. I also want to say that you all don't have to stay just on one word. You have to combine two words if you want to. We don't want you all to feel in any way held back or restricted. But we can go with the one word for now, and then I'm going to start pitching the conversation all across the place. So this is our way of doing our introduction. So Mireille, what's your letter, and what is that powerful piece of information you want to share with our people?
Thank you so much, Richard. And I'm always going to be grateful for the pronunciation of my name, which is amazing from you. And thank you, Sabeeta, for the invitation to be part of this phenomenal panel of women. And it's really amazing to see that women are breaking barriers, and all of us here we have done that, and I'm really happy to be here. As far as the acronym, I'm also going to talk about networking and passion. Why networking? Because I've been working in male-dominated environment all my life, and what I realized is that networking has been a key ingredient for me to be able to actually reach the point that I have right now. I've been able to network not only with women outside the industry to get the support that I didn't get inside the industry, but also with men to get the mentorship, to get the coaching, to be able to reach the highest level and navigate the industry, which is sometimes very tough for women. So networking is really the important bit, and the passion, because you get tested, you get a challenge. Because you are a woman, you hear a lot of things. Because you are a woman, you're not always part of the of any big project. So you have to show the passion, you have to show the resilience to push yourself and to continue your journey, and still push for the connection that actually going to help you to navigate the industry confidently and also be focused on results more than getting discouraged by the discrimination that happened because of your gender. So that's, for me, those are the key thing, the key word that I've actually defined, what I've done so far in working in the energy sector.
Wonderful. And that's and I mean, I love, just by your faces, you're such a humble woman. She's an award-winning woman sitting there, and she has been given bestowed awards across the world, in the UAE, in Australia, in Africa. I mean, she is the managing director at MT Energy Resources, and she is the chair, the global chair for at engineering, the prestigious P100 Club. And I am really, really feeling honored that I am able to roll these things off my tongue, and be in the company of such powerful women. You know, I want to shift now. I'm leaving my two ladies up at the top of my queue here for last because they are the ones who brought us together. So you all know that's why I'm leaving you for last. Okay. So I'm going to Dr. Sofia Mohammed. I also know Sofia Mohammed. I've had the good fortune of working with a very inspirational woman. But I'll give her prolific credentials after. Tell us, what is your contribution to this afternoon, and what powerful message or golden nuggets you want to say out there about what you all empowered.
Thank you so much, Richard. Richard, good night, good morning to all the women who are tuned in here. And it's such a humbling position to be among such inspiring trailblazers who are changing the landscape of the world, changing the way we think. This Inspire You conference is very dear to even myself. I know to Sabeeta, to Sonia. It's the third time I'm having the opportunity of joining Inspire You. I had the opportunity of joining Inspire You in Guyana, and I know we're going to do it again. Each one of the letters resonate with me, but the one that truly stands out is that R, that recalibrate, that rebirth, and that keyword that also Mireille mentioned, resilience. And resilience, if it's one capacity we saw we all had to tap into during the pandemic, was our resilience. And many times we look at resilience as how much we endure. But Harvard Business Review recently shared that resilience is how much we invest in ourselves to recharge. So that concept of self care comes in. And my message to all the women that are tuned in here, while we are and very capable of defying all the odds, overcoming just about any challenge, sometimes we deprioritize our health and our well being. And it's important that we take the same amount of energy that we put into all of these projects to also take care of ourselves. And that resilience, encouraging, enforcing, it's not enforcing, but nurturing our resilience capacity to endure, but also to recharge, also increases our capacity to manage so many more projects. Those of us who are tuned in here today, who are mothers, who are managing multiple roles, and I think that's just about every mom or every person managing multiple roles, know how important it is to achieve that work life blend. Many times we talk about work life balance. However, I like to switch it around in terms of achieving a work life blend. We've seen during this pandemic where we've been juggling balls, and many times persons may feel so stressed. However, I want to remind every woman, every person who's tuned in today, your capacity, your resilience is intrinsic to you. Yes, it's determined by your environment sometimes, by the amount of stressors, but you have that opportunity to control, to manage the choices, to manage the outcomes. So I know this conference is going to bring about so much inspiration, so much strategies, so many aspects of how we can all be inspired. And I know I am looking forward to learning from each one of the amazing women here on this panel.
Wonderful. And that's Dr. Sofia Mohammed, and she is the founder of SISU Global. It's an organizational consultancy based initiative which does transformational training and promotes wellness. It's a very current word because our well being and the social welfare is all dependent on our individual wellness. Okay? So she's always battling what you call the adversity quotient that people must be able to be resilient about to be able to stay relevant and be requisite into the challenging world. I'm getting goosebumps. So I'm going to my friend. She's my new friend. She's my new friend, but she joined at my hip because we are involved in other things, and she's part of the collaborative team who's brought this thing together. Um, and I'm leaving my dearest friend for last. But I'm going to Dr. Sabeeta Bidasie Singh. Very inspirational, very motivational person. This is also that we spoke, and we are involved in two other projects also right now. But for this purpose, Sabeeta, what is your word? What it is you want to send out there? Because some of these things that we are saying, people are aware of it, but they're now being related to experiential transfer. Because you all are seeing it with respect to what you have done and what motivated you to do it. So this is what I want through this entire process. So when we go into the talks afterward, I want experiential transfer. Okay? So it has to lose a certain degree of academia. And you must tell me stories of how it empowered you and made you become the person you are so that they can feel I can do it too. That's what Inspire You is about, eh? Yes. Sabeeta.
First of all, thank you, Richard, and I'd like to thank the co-founder of Women in Business International, Sonia and Noel. I'd like to give a warm welcome to all our guests tonight: Sarona Samaroo, Natasha Gaskin Peters, Dr. Auliana Poon, Dr. Sofia Mohammed, and Mireille Toulekima. Did I get that good?
You did well.
Thank you, thank you. Tonight, I choose two words, and I choose I for innovate, and I choose S for sustainability. Did you know that in the word innovation, when you try to define it, thinking about a company, when a company is innovating, innovation on a company level means commitment. It means investing in change for sustained growth. That's the sustainability aspect. And in order for innovation to happen and to bring sustained growth, the company needs to find a common language that really fosters and sows that seed, within the culture of the organization. And that culture is that collective sense of identity where people identify as one in an organization in order to support the innovation. My doctorate is on transformation during times of disruption. And, it's about becoming agile. How do you move towards agile systems and become lean so that you are competitive? A lot of my research was spent on small businesses or local businesses. And, we saw during the pandemic why it was important to have innovation to keep them, in the forefront and to make sure that they are sustainable, because it is a fact that small businesses contribute significantly to the economic impact of their communities and the communities that they serve. So fostering, local businesses is very critical. Local capacity development is really important. From that innovation and sustainability perspective, I want to take it on a personal level, right? I was born in an island of just over 1 million. I was born in Trinidad. I have managed to work and move around the world and still, maintain my sense of identity. So I was able to become creative, to continue self-development, to ensure that I sustained myself throughout all my travels and I remained relevant. So as one woman to another, I say it's important to have your identity. And sometimes you may need to dig deep and innovate to find who you are, or the new version of yourself if the old version of you doesn't work. All right. And that's where deep reflection comes in. And I'll share some of my personal, self-discovery tools that I use during my journey to help me be successful later on. But innovation and sustainability is critical to me. It's about my business model. It's about my way of life. It's about my value system. Richard.
I love, and one of the words that she used there, I for identity. I believe in cultural confidence. Cultural confidence allows you to navigate spaces a lot more liberatedly, you know? So that was Dr. Safeeya Bidasie Singh. She is the CEO of Cardinal Services LLC, and she's heading up operations and administration at the Houston Minority Supplier Development Council. All right, so you're hearing the caliber of women here. They have been empowered to change the world, and I get to sit to them and talk to them on this day. Yeah, and I go to my dear friend. My dear friend is Sonia Noel. Sonia Noel is the founder of the Sonia Noel Foundation. That's just one of the things that she started. She started the Women's Association of Sustainable Development, which morphed into the Entrepreneurs Association of the Sustainable Development. She also has a movement she calls the Love Revolution. She has an initiative moving around Guyana, giving bread, basic bread to people who are in need. She's about transformation. She's constantly discovering herself. You see how liberally I can speak of her because she is in my blood. You know, I have been working with her for the last 15 to 20 years on a yearly basis in Guyana. I am Guyanese. I just need probably to get a passport. So Sonia, yeah, tell me, what is the letter that comes to your mind that would give us a word that will really, really impact our listeners here today?
Well, I am definitely going to go with two. I'm going to go with N. I know two others went with networking already, but I want to say through networking has really built my relationship capital. And that is very important to me because it had allowed me to do so many of the projects that I've done. And I'm going to name one in particular, the Women in Business Expo. When I had that idea in 2016, it's not that I had the budget to do it, but because of my relationships with many people, especially Mr. Badal from the Pegasus, that really gave us the foundation to start that event. Because I'm a kind of person, I'm bold, and I don't mind hearing no, because I'm gonna go again. And when I had this idea, and I told you and some others, and we talked about, okay, we where's the money gonna come from? I said, don't worry, the money's gonna happen, but because I knew that I had a list of people that I could have called. So when I went straight for the venue first, and I said, if we get that done, we're gonna get it. And I called very boldly Mr. Badal. I would like to have an event there for Women's Month. And he said, okay, what's the problem? You always call banqueting and book. I said, no, this time I want it for free. Right. So because of my beliefs, after a few seconds, he said, okay, Sonia, yes, I'll get it done. But again, is in the doing. Because it's not just because I just called him together, but he knew that anything that I'm going to be attached to, it's going to bring value to people's lives, right? So because of my networking, of course, my relationship, the deposits of my relationship capital, which leads to profit. So when we talk about profit, a lot of times, so many things go wrong in our head. Of course, we see in dollars all the time, but I've always seen purpose with profit, because profit must have purpose, right? So everything that I have done in all of my life, even from the very first fashion show that I've had, which was over 20 years ago, it always had a philanthropic edge. It always had something to give. And what led me to that purpose and profit and everything is coming back to P again, passion. Because there are moments when I felt so exhausted. There are moments when I thought like some of the project that I was doing was not going anywhere. But because of that passion for what I do, I wake up in the morning with that tenacity and that confidence, knowing that it's going to happen. Because when you have that confidence that, you know what, I'm going to jump and grow my wings down right now. There are times when you're like, you have, actually the ad is out and you don't have all the dots, all the T's crossed and the I's dot. But you know that it's going to happen because in your belly, you just have that conviction that is going to make a difference in lives. You see, when I look at my journey and some of the things that I've done, it was fueled by that passion. And it just leads me, of course, every day I said I feel so blessed because I'm living a purpose-driven life. And passion and purpose is they're married. They're married. There's no getting away from that. So I started with that relationship, and even yesterday I was in Bartica, my hometown, and that's one of the things that I was chatting with a lot of the young ladies, and they were asking me if about my career and different things, and if I know that if I was always this confident and all of that. And a lot of them, like I asked them, like, of course, what do you want to do? And a lot of some of them said doctors, lawyers, and different things. And then when you get down to the why do you want to do it? Because sometimes you do it because somebody else is. So I tell them to deep down inside, what are you going to do if you're not paid at all, and do it your 100% just as if you paid? Just like you, Richard, you are so passionate about the Caribbean aesthetic that it's in your DNA. And many times you go out there through the region and you work. I look at you, I've had interaction with you for so long. And I look at you sometimes, as you know, and I said, look at him. He's just giving it all. And I know I don't have the money to give him what he's worth, but he's given me 1,000%. So profit must have purpose for it to really mean contributing to humanity. That's my words. Those are my words.
Love it. I love that when you said your gut, that visceral sense. All of us have that, and that steers itself into the imaginative side of us. I know, because that is what the human being is empowered with, as opposed to being instinctual beings. We are creatively intelligent, and when we are that way, we can imagine possibility and then craft it. I want to raise the issue of, right now, well, for a while now, there's an economic diversification kind of branding that is everywhere. We are trying to go away from the traditional income generating ways, but here on the panel we have a lot of people who are going back into what might have been more traditional ways, but I know that they are more people centric in their thinking. So I'm hearing that human resource empowerment in the way that they are approaching going back into some of that. So we want to talk about economic diversification. We want to talk about sustainable development. And we want people to jump in here and tell me how you, in your particular realm, um, uh, are empowering people from finding the new ways, the imaginative ways, the creatively intelligent ways of forging a new future, more so coming out of a pandemic. Sabeeta, going straight to you.
Why am I not surprised, Richard? One of the things I'm really proud of is the fact that I could have worked with the government of Trinidad and Tobago on a project that helped fashion designers go global. There was we picked a selected number of designers, and they moved through a global value chain project where they were upskilled, and core competencies were built and gap closures were done to the point where we identified that they were fully ready to go international, backed with the full backing of the ministry, and the minister as well, supported by all the foreign affairs consulates. We have been promoting these designers, not just on a local or Caribbean or regional level, but on an international level. We have worked with our consular services in Brussels, in India, in China, in the UK, here in the US, everywhere we've got a consular service, we are tapping into that to get into those markets so that we could create visibility for our designers. But that was made possible by a platform customized and built by my company, Cardinal Services, where we took a lot of 3D technology and made a virtual event. So it's now a trade mission, an expo, and a conference. And this has such an immersive experience. I cannot even explain it. You have to go into it to feel it. I tell people, you tell someone your story, they may forget it, but it's how you make people feel that they remember. And we took a lot of time to ensure that the customer experience was embedded when we built out this platform, because we want to show people that the Caribbean is capable of technology. We are pushing the first ever 3D virtual trade platform. The visibility we were on. Richard, you want to show it us Friday with the general manager of Fashion TT, and you saw the reception we get. I was on the Black Expo today. We had over 25,000 people supporting this initiative. I've been on conferences in every part of the world. We have a consular presence. The reception is amazing. People did not see us pass our oil and gas until we took that platform to them. The visibility and recognition that our designers are getting is amazing, because we have taken Trinidad and offered it to the world on a platform. And I just think what we're doing, and we talk about innovation and we talk about sustainability, technology enables sustainability. The tool is disruptive, it's innovative, but it is definitely something that the industry needs. And I'm proud to say that I'm a part of it with my government, the government of Trinidad and Tobago, that is taking technology to the world to showcase what this Caribbean island can do.
I'm coming to people who are in oil and gas, but a lot of what Sabeeta said there connects to Dr. Poon, because I know passion was not just one of the words, she lives by it. She's all about people centricity, about culture orientation, innovation. She promotes that all the time. And she also is technology focused and talent driven. I have seen in the projects we have worked in, we have been doing some of what you are doing there now, Sabeeta, on a small scale with a what do you will call that? It's a very imaginative based project that we would do housed in Tobago. I want Dr. Poon to talk about how these things motivate her and how it affects tourism, because tourism is one of the things that I feel that she has really reframed our intelligence around tourism, because there is old tourism, there is compassionate tourism, there is new tourism, there is all types of tourism now that she has been kind of forging a new direction for it to change how we are culturally confident about our spaces. And then I'm coming to one of the people working in the gas and oil, and then we'll come back to wellness. Yes, Dr. Poon.
Thank you, Richard. Yes, of course, sustainable development is not only a buzzword, but is absolutely critical if we have to sustain ourselves and survive. I think in the old times we did tourism that was mass and standardized and rigidly packaged, where we were known as a room number. But more and more, customers, people, we want a tourism that is kind to the environment, that is people-centered, that is innovative, that is creative. And I think when we talk about the environment, I think we in the Caribbean, we have to move away from saving the birds and the bees. We have to talk about sustainable livelihoods. And Richard, you're so spot on. Sonia, I mean, at the end of the day, we can only save planet Earth if we save ourselves. If we love who we are, if we love that piece of earth that we walk on. And I keep saying that if the American embassy opens today and offers us a green card, 99.9999% of us would be going. But unless we begin to appreciate and love that piece of earth, Guyana, Trinidad, Antigua, Barbuda, the Bahamas, and love who we are, we would not be able to appreciate our environment. So when we talk about saving the seas and all of those kind of things, let's look at ourselves very deeply and let's build that cultural confidence. Let's love who we are. And it's only in loving who we are that we can love our neighbors and we can love our environment and we can enjoy our environment. Because right now it is so critical that development is not only about cocoa, oil, gas, steel, sugar.
Exactly.
It's really about humanity and human beings. Mm-hmm. That's why, I really feel that the future of tourism is what I call tech, T-E-C-H, technology, environment, community, and humanity.
Wonderful. I want to go to Sarona. And how are you all applying these new premises? Because these premises are what's going to forge the way. And I'm coming to our director as well over Dr. Gaskin Peters. I want to know how you all are changing the approach with the oil and gas for it to have some kind of people-centeredness, some kind of sustainable development for those concerned and the ones around, and particularly for the local content aspect, because a lot of times it is a foreign-based, still very patriarchal incursion into a space to do oil and gas. So I want to hear how sensitively that is crafted by both of you all. So I'm coming to you all, starting with Sarona.
Richard, thanks for the question. Great question, actually. Listening to everyone's answers, just to try to link everything together. So, firstly, I think what we thought would happen 10 years into the future is not now at our doorstep. And we have been forced to pivot and adapt or be swept away. The pandemic, for many, it brought misfortune. At Dorado Offshore, we tend to look at the glass as always half full. So for us, we took that misfortune and made it into opportunity. And I believe once there's adversity, there's always opportunity. It depends on how you perceive it and how you view it. We have used the pandemic to use our technology to be our biggest game changer. We have the first technological timesheet app that's developed, where our offshore personnel can now log in with their mobile phones and submit their timesheets instantly to us, and our payroll department gets it, so they get paid instantly. And we want to ensure that while these persons are offshore working hard, their families at home have access to that benefit as well, so that they can also ensure that they live comfortable lives. As it relates to people centricity, people is our business. And I always say our greatest resources are our human resources. And one of Dorado Offshore's theme this year is capacity and capability building. And for me, with my internal team, I am proud to say that in our entity in Guyana, 75% of the managerial positions are filled by locals there. 95% of the internal staff are females. And I take special pride in that because I love to contribute to capacity building and empowerment. And you all, I stand on all of the women here, your shoulders, because of the sacrifices and the hard work and the successes you all have made. And I hope that my shoulders can be as strong as yours. So someday other persons can stand on mine and they can be empowered to lift other people up. But people centricity is a major focus for Dorado Offshore this year. And what we are doing is we have a series of recruitment camps rolled out in the different regions. Our slogan actually, EDO, everyone deserves opportunities. And what we are going to do is going to different regions throughout Guyana. And today, the team in Guyana, they were in Essequibo. Last week, they were in Bidasie. They're going to be in Linden soon. And that the purpose of those camps is really to build capacity by offering soft skill training, resume writing tips, career advisory sessions to the locals there. And we want everyone to know that there are opportunities in every sector, not just the energy sector. So we are taking a holistic approach. My vision for EDO is broader than what most of our competitors think. What I tend to focus on is, I know in the Caribbean, we love to develop regionally. My vision for EDO is to take Guyanese and not just put them on rigs and vessels in Guyana, but to put them on rigs and vessels in Mexico and Europe and Africa, for them to be the pioneers in the industry, to represent the Caribbean and to also represent us proudly on the world stage. So, but that is part of my goal for capacity building and people centricity. And I think we have a bunch of brilliant persons offshore. I am always proud when we hire females, especially offshore. It's always a big moment for us because it's a male-dominated industry. And what I want to do with the whole theme of Inspire You is to break that bias and to break the concept of glass ceilings. Because I believe that there should never be glass ceilings or any ceilings limiting women from upward mobility or opportunities. The only limit should truly be our imaginations or the sky.
Wow. Sarona, I have goose pimples. Beside the fact that I'm just as young as you, I want to go to our Center for Local Business Development, because I know Natasha Gaskin Peters is very a strong advocate on SME development and gender empowerment, and she's about mentoring and training for competitiveness and capacity for work. So, and so I know the vibe is there about the development of the human being. So share with us a little on that.
Yes, thank you so much, Richard. And I really love this particular topic of economic diversification because we at the center have taken this to heart. The center really supports local Guyanese businesses. As you are aware, the offshore oil and gas industry is really new here in Guyana. And so we want to ensure that those local businesses, local Guyanese businesses, are able to benefit from the opportunities in the oil and gas industry, but also from the spill-off impact into the wider economy. And so when we train businesses here in Guyana, whether it be our awareness courses on oil and gas or core business courses, it is really focused on people. It is really focused on building capacity across all economic sectors. So here at the center, we not only focus on the oil and gas industry, but we focus, are you in agriculture? Are you in agro-processing, in mining, in manufacturing? So our training, mentoring, and courses target all Guyanese businesses across all economic sectors. And this really fuels my passion because I'm very passionate about impact. I'm passionate about economic development in my country. And similar to Sarona, we have been going on outreaches into regions outside of our capital city to indicate to other businesses that the opportunity is not only here for the capital city, the opportunity is here for all Guyanese businesses. And so only recently we've gone to Region 6, the Berbice region, and we went all the way to the Quarantine region, not stopping at New Amsterdam. We're also going to Linden, to Essequibo. We are going to touch every administrative region here in Guyana to really drive home that message that the oil and gas industry is here to benefit all, but also the center is there for your development, for your empowerment, regardless of what business sector that you're in.
Wonderful. I'm going now to Mireille, my French African compare. I know she recently created an entrepreneurship ecosystem for African entrepreneurs, and more than 80% of them are women. So I know that her mindset is in the development of the human being with a woman focus. So share a little light on that and let it impact on this discussion that the human resource capital, human resource capital is what we must develop in order to forge a way to better life for future generations.
It's well, such an insightful conversation. Thank you for all the insight that was shared before. We talk a lot about local content, especially in the oil and gas industry. Talking a lot about local content, but sometimes the implementation is actually is not happening. And that's why it's important. And I like what Dr. Poon was talking about before. It's sometime about really believing in ourselves and understanding and being really proud of who we are, because it starts with us, our own mindset. And when we have that, when we believe in ourselves, everything that comes on top is really just an added bonus. And that's what is happening, I think, in a lot of countries, especially where oil and gas has been discovered. We discover this oil and gas and we sit on it. We don't really think strategically on how we can use this industry to create a bridge for sustainable development, and also building up our people, because those are the ones that are actually building the country. And that's really the important bit that sometimes we miss out. I don't know, we do it on purpose, and that's why the awareness is important, not only looking at developing people on the technical side, but also make them understand that they have the power to create something. from what is happening, and from building and up from the oil and gas industry. And that's what I've been doing, especially for women. When I started in the oil and gas industry 25 years ago, being a woman of color in a very male, Caucasian male-dominated environment, it was very difficult. But what I realized is that I got, in a way, I disqualify myself in a way, because I was already going with the idea that I was a woman of color, it's going to be difficult. So I was focusing on what I was lacking instead of focusing on what I could bring. But when I understood through mentoring, through coaching, that I should actually look at myself more on the value that I can create, and really bring this value on the table in the industry, that's when things started to take off. And by creating this ecosystem, that's really what I want for women, that we should not focus on the fact that, yes, we have the ceiling. Yes, we are women. It's difficult. We don't get funding. We get discriminated. Let's focus on what we can actually control. And what we can control is the power that we have to innovate, the resilience that we have, and also all the attributes that make us, strong women and leaders in this world. And that's really what I go after in this entrepreneurship ecosystem, working with the women on their mindset, but also train them, giving them the skills to become, entrepreneurs. Because what we've seen so far is that women, even when they take entrepreneurship, if you look at the demographic and the statistic, they actually not, there's not a lot of big companies that are led by women, and it's a shame, because we have the skills and we can actually build on these skills to be able to also be at the top and not get stuck, in those small businesses and small and medium businesses, when we can do more. So that's really what we're trying to do, making sure that women understand the power that they have, the strength that they have, and they build on those strengths instead of focusing on closing the gap on things that, they are not good at, or the things that people are telling them that they are not good at. And from this builds, the technical skills, build strategic mindset as well, and make sure that, they are able to build on the power that they have and to build on the skills that they have to be able to become the best entrepreneurs, because that's what it's all about. They can become the best entrepreneur. It's just sometime in our mind. Yes, it's not easy. Yes, it can be difficult, but nothing is easy in life. So we just have to look at it from this point of view and tell ourselves, let's take one step at a time. When we don't know and when we can't, let's, look for support. And that's what the ecosystem is going to bring you. Let's go to look for support, not only to train us, get us the right skills, but also get us the right mindset, so that we get all the leadership, all the management skills, all the mindset that is necessary to compete. And I don't like to actually use the word compete, because it's not a competition. To bring value, to bring value in our country, and build others, because that's really what I'm giving back. Because I could have said, okay, I don't want to, I'm where I am. I don't want to look back or help any people. But no, I said deliberately, we need to, even if we don't have a position of leadership, even if we're not, managing director somewhere, when we've been fortunate to have skills, we need to, bring back those skills in our countries, in our region, to build up, this sustainability for our people and for our countries. and for the world, because in a way, when we also contribute at our country level, it helps, humanity win, and everybody is a winner in that situation.
Well said, Mireille. Um, I love the organic flow with which this is happening. And a lot of what we spoke about obviously leads me into the wellness concept of which Dr. Sofia Mohammed speaks, and her interest in expanding opportunity for other female-based civil society
Yes.
organizations. And she has this
Yes.
wonderful thing about consciously creating equanimity, because balance and equilibrium is all that we can hold on to
That's right.
stay, to stay resilient in the space. So
Yes.
come on, Sophia, you share in this.
So
Mhm.
I love what well, everyone is sharing here, but I love specifically when Mireille shared on resilience, that resilient mindset, and Sarona tapped onto developing our people, that people centric, developing the capacity there. One of our big mentors, both Sonia and myself, because we're John Maxwell leadership coaches, John Maxwell shared, you don't overcome challenges by making them smaller, but you overcome these adversities, these hurdles, by making yourself bigger. And that stems into increasing your capacity. And someone mentioned about that gut strength. That strength actually is your SISU, your resilience. And it's so important that not only from a micro level as an individually, but as an organizational level, at a macro level, that we find that interdependence of wellness, well-being, productivity. If it's one thing we saw during COVID-19, that the organizations that thrived were those that were able to be agile and adapt and really be resilient. And what we've also found is those that had some level of wellness, well-being, that's built into their sustainable platforms, they were then able to pivot forward. And more, actually, from a British Healthiest Workplace survey, it was shared that the organizations are now incorporating wellness, well-being, those initiatives into productivity, into performance management. And we talked about profits, we're no longer only looking at that KPI, but we're also looking at how are we developing our most important asset, our people. So how are we developing the culture of wellness and resilience within the workplace? It starts from the individual, it starts from the home setting, it then expands into the community and certainly that workplace. And there's this shift into developing the human economy, where you're seeing this movement or this growing interest into, and you mentioned the word consciousness, this conscious capitalism, this resilience intelligence for businesses. In fact, we're even looking at the psychology of happiness, the neuroscience of mindfulness, the science of altruism. All of these are now emerging fields. And what used to be considered soft skills in the past are now considered crucial skills for development. So as we move forward with our post-pandemic world, we're seeing organizations differentiating themselves by incorporating this very holistic approach and getting the best out, their most important asset, by investing in these wellness, well-being initiatives. And I've had the opportunity, and it's so amazing that I've had the opportunity of integrating these platforms, not just locally here in Trinidad, across the region, collaborating with persons in India, delivering talks in Maldives, in Dubai. In fact, right now, SISU Global Wellness is developing a platform and soon going to be launching out that with a company out of India. And they have very much focused on that wellness, well-being, resilience skills, developing that as a crucial skill. So we're seeing that shift. And I want to encourage every single one who's listening here to understand that that skill starts from within us. We're each gifted with that resilience mindset. However, it's up to us to be able to tap into it, to move ourselves through whatever challenges we may be facing. And you know, Richard, you had the opportunity to be part of one of those biggest challenges I think I've ever had to face in my life. We had the opportunity to present at United Nations Commissioner Status of Women in March, a couple years ago. And the day Trinidad, in fact, we weren't even Trinidad, we were the LAC panel, had to present, there was a massive snowstorm, there was a blizzard. It took down the whole day. However, our team stayed true to course, stayed resilient, and we held on despite having 140 countries wanting to also present, and we were able to really push through and develop our own panel and present within United Nations Commissioner status a couple days after. That led us to have the opportunity to me now lead, open the door for other entrepreneurs to present at UNCSW. And me having the opportunity to open that door. And that brings me into one very important point: empowerment. What is empowerment? Empowerment is when you find that seat at the table, you know, and as Sarona shared there, that she sits on the seat of shoulders of women who have broken the biases and paved the pathway. When you've gotten that seat at the table, open the door for other women to now enter. And that
Yeah.
is one message, not only of resilience, but of empowerment.
Yeah, lovely, 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 Sophia. One of the things that, out of everything that everyone is saying, as a creative, I'm a creative, and the word pivot seemed to have come out of the blue because we had a pandemic. Creatives were always pivoting. We were always reinventing ourselves to stay relevant. Um, and I had to find ways to do it. And why I say this is because I'm leading into Sonia. She's celebrating 25 years in the creative industry this year. And she and I have always been pivoting. So when they started using the word pivot, we say, but I know what we're doing all the time. We have been always adapting to new systems, adapting new ways, and forging some new element, redesigning how we move forward to impact people. It's all about transferring value. It's all about transferring so that people could be empowered and impacted. And so Sonia, I mean, Sonia called me the other day and told me she's designing furniture. Sonia called me the other day and moved from doing clothing to furniture design. So we had that, and I just thought, well, okay, she's making a joke. And then she said, I sold my first piece. The next minute is a commission. So, I mean, that is pivoting in the real sense. So, Sonia, share with us this journey of shifting mindset and reinstilling in yourself a sense of cultural confidence in who you are. This little Bartica girl, if you only know where Bartica is, Bartica must be 100 miles up the Essequibo River. A person up there never going to be thinking they're landing in London showing clothing or New York showing clothing. Even if you thought it is almost like a reverie, to borrow the French word, Mireille. And but tell us about your journey in this transformational path that you do every day. Every day.
Many rivers to cross, and I actually crossed some yesterday. And what you said reminded me of my home economics teacher when I was like 13, 14, and she wanted to know what we wanted to do with our lives, and I said designer. And at that time, of course, she didn't show me. She just said okay, but I didn't get any funny vibe from her. But years later, she called me aside and she said, I use you as reference in my class because when you said you wanted to be a designer, I felt sorry for you because I was like, how can a girl in a mining town think about just designing dresses? Nobody thinks about that, right? So she used it in our class to say, if you hold on to that dream that you have, that it's possible to achieve it because Sonia and Noel did. And yes, I love Mireille. You mentioned mindset many times, and that is so vital, especially now in the last 2 years where we are in that space. And when we pivoting also calls for a special mindset because you have to be able to adapt. You have that ability to adapt. And like when you have that mindset of coming back to the word resilience again, is when you there are difficult times, there were challenges have been used, because as you go and navigate many rivers, there are times you're going to feel as if you are in that boat alone. And there are times you're going to feel as if you would definitely want to quit. But like what I was saying to the kids yesterday is like, where the mountain was smooth, you couldn't get to the top. And I think over the years of navigating, I always thought of like, you see that rough patch that I'm feeling now? It is propelling me and elevating me on that mountain because it's giving me grip to go up, right? So I had to have that mindset to do the things that I'm doing, and shifting. Like I do still design clothing, but I always wanted to do a line of surf furnishing and some other stuff. So in this whole pandemic, it allowed me to, do a lot of reflection and pause, because when you pause, you allow growth to catch up with you. And feeling that discomfort, you know that you are growing. And I'm the kind of person like to think, they said, if you haven't been called crazy, your dream is not big enough. Things to keep me up at night, and then I bug Richard, and sometimes he gets a message from me probably 2 a.m., 3 a.m. in those crazy times, right? And because I like to bounce things off him. And when I thought about the I Am collection, actually, I'm going to be launching at the Pegasus on the 30th. I had a preview. I thought about something that with positive affirmations. Even my clothing, like Sabeeta was talking about, the one that wears so many. That's her favorite, the 5 ways. I always like to be. You get so much out of one thing. And then when I thought about the cushions and all the clothing and everything, and not the clothing, all of the even to the rolling pin and the things that you are actually cutting your boards on, it's giving you affirmations like I am beautiful. Or they have one of it that said I appreciate my struggles because it made me stronger. Like imagine you having such a bad day in the kitchen and you pick up your cutting board and just say, oh, you are so beautiful, or I am so beautiful, or I am purposeful, or something. So all of it, I didn't just want to do a line, I just wanted to do a meaningful line. And so it is like it's really sometimes when I look at myself and I look at my journey of the things that have happened, it's really a blessing, because I think it's because of me serving, and like my ability to, like, it just comes naturally giving and just trying to impart and add in value, because I grew up, that comes back again from Bartica, that's 1 square mile. My mom, we were very, very humble beginning. And back then, I used to be kind of upset because she would share everything we had, like a little bit of sugar, she's going to share half. And I'd be upset. My sister would be upset. But then it was laying that foundation for that philanthropic mindset and that servant mindset. And like Martin Luther King said, not everyone can be famous, but everyone can be great, because greatness is determined by service. So I've developed that. So everything that I do, it's attached to benefit someone else. And one question I always ask myself, Sonia, you're about to do this. Why are you going to do it? Is it going to benefit just Sonia? If the answer is just me, I'm going to benefit. No, I would never do it. It has to add value to others. And Richard knows that very well, because he's been part of all my projects. And when I spoke to Sabeeta, and I must say that she, right away, when I said, right away, it was like 1, 2, 3, that all of this is happening today and bringing all of us together. And Sabeeta, I really must thank you for that. You show so much passion and the excitement and everything else. And it was just that. And then Sofia, she's like, oh my God, of course I want to be part. I was part of Inspire You. So bringing all of you together, Natasha, actually, I know of Natasha, but we met through this platform, and we are in Guyana. We actually communicated more here than ever. And I heard so much about you, Dr. Poon. Richard, I was, oh my God, she's so beautiful and classy. And so I can see all of that in you. And Sarona, of course, when you were talking about your company, because we actually give an award for because we were honoring the Inspire You the 3rd year. We were honoring companies that had a large percentage of women employees, and your company got one. So I really applaud you guys for what you're doing. And I just love, of course, I'm not going to pronounce your name like Richard, but 25 years, of course, you have paved the way for so many, I am sure, countless people. And I just love the fact when you talk about, when sometimes when we look at what we don't have, but we have to shift that mindset again, because energy grows where energy goes. And for people, they have so many people that are looking to us on the show that, they a lot of them, I'm tuning in tonight because I know I'm going to go away with nuggets. and we all have shared so much. And this is such an honor to be here. And it's an honor just to be able to be alive and add value to others. Just even sometimes if it's one person, you have, like Mother Teresa said, that if you haven't inspired one life, you would have lived a wasted life. And none of us on this call today live in wasted life. We are living full and we're dying empty. When we get to wherever, when our expiry date comes, we must say, I've done it. I've done it.
Wonderful. Oh my God. Preach, Sister Noel. Preach. Yeah, I started off by saying I'm honored and humbled, and I mean it is a powerful group of women here who are not just holding positions of power, but using their positions to change the way we live and to change our environment. And that is really what is so fascinating to me and which is emboldening me in this facilitator's position. And I hope that people out there felt something really special coming from each one of you all. I want to thank everybody for being part of this talk. Dr. Sabeeta Bidasie Singh, my new friend who feels like I knew her forever. My friend Mireille from Gabon. I am dying to come there so I can work on my French. So Auliana Poon, Dr. Auliana Poon, I'm dying to see you coming home soon, so we're going to hook up. Dr. Gaskin Peters, Sarona, and Sofia, and my darling friends, Sonia, Noel. This was
Coming
really
soon, right? You're coming to Guyana soon.
I know I have to come to my second home, but I am really, 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 really honored to have been here. I feel we have made an impact. I have been impacted by each one of you all. I think the storytelling, because storytelling is the way of the world. I feel like a griot. A griot is a French West African storyteller. Again, you see my French influences, my Mireille. And I feel that I am a griot here and I am just guiding the storytelling, the anecdotal transfer of knowledge and wisdom from people who have lived these wonderful experiences and who would have pioneered new ways of doing things, not because it was easy, but because it was challenging and they had to overcome it. And I'm thankful. Inspire You has inspired me, and I'm happy to have been here with you all.
Hey, Richard, can I ask a quick question before we say goodbye? I'd like to go around the table of these gorgeous women and ask them to choose one word that ties in to the letter that was assigned to them. So, Sarona, you were N. One nugget that you want to say as we leave, and we say, see you soon, ladies. See you, when we have another session. Something you want to give them to take away, and we're going to pass around the table, and all of us should share one nugget, one takeaway.
Okay.
Are you on mute, Sarona? Sorry.
Sorry, yeah. Thanks, Sabeeta, and thanks again for having me. It's been a pleasure and hearing all these stories. I feel like the time was running so fast. We have so much still to talk about. But
Yes.
my word was network, and what I want to leave people with is the advice that you will be the first to do many things. We as women will be the first to do a lot of things. And sometimes we may feel fearful to do it, or we may feel judged to do it, and we may be skeptical, and we will doubt ourselves and our worth. And we will do that simply because other people do not see it in us, or they don't see it in themselves that a woman can accomplish that. The key measure of success is not ensuring that you are the first, it's ensuring that you are not the last to do so. And whatever you do in life, always make space for someone at the table, as Dr. Mohammed said. And that's how I try to live my life, where I tell my team members that by the time I'm finished mentoring them and coaching them, I meet with them every week, and we have one-on-one sessions where I look at the action items and I use part of that session to mentor and coach each of my core team members. And for me as a leader, it would have meant I would have done something right if it is that at least one of them become better than me. My goal is for all of them to become better than me by the time I'm finished mentoring them. But I think it's all part of that empowerment and networking as well, because once we stay together, the sky is the limit and the opportunities are going to be boundless. And I want people to really realize, as we focus on impact, not just focus on the effort, but also focus on the impact and value that you could add to the lives of others. Because really, it's all about how much people we can, in all the ways we can, And I think that is what really living a meaningful life is, and sustainable living as well.
Thank you
Safeeya?
very, very much, Sarona.
Safeeya?
Okay, am I? Yes, unmuted. So very quickly, because I know we want to hear from every single one of our beautiful ladies here, I want to share two quick little points, and it stems off the word resilience again. Life will never get easy. We know it's not easy. It will always have tough challenges thrown at you, curveballs. It also doesn't get more forgiving. We, women, we get more stronger and we get more resilient. Dr. Steve Maraboli shared that. And very much using that word, we do it together. Collaboration. Collaboration is the future currency. Do it together, supporting each other. There's a beautiful line that I came across. The word illness, and you'll hear a lot about health from me. If we were to take off the word I from the word illness and replace it with we, what word do we get? Wellness. And that also, we do things together. So wherever you are, find your tribe. Your tribe will support collaboratively and do it consciously with that resilience mindset.
Okay, Dr. Poon.
Thank you, Richard. Like you, I have certainly been inspired. Thank you, Sabeeta, Mireille, Sonia, Sarona, Natasha, and Sofia. I mean, this has been really, really, really inspiring. What I want to leave with you is this. Education. Knowledge is what will set you free. And I'll be a bit controversial here. Women and men, we need to grow and develop from the matter between our ears and not just the ones between our legs. What's in between our ears is so critical because that determines our essence, who we are. It determines our vibe and everything else. And that is what makes us different. Everybody has a hand, a leg, and everything else. That's not unique. That's a common good. It's what we grow and nurture between these two ears is what's going to set us free. Let me just add one more quick thing that I want to leave you with. Attention. Remember in school, our teachers would tell us to pay attention? Would you believe that every minute we spend on social media, there are 100,000 people, robots, algorithms that are trying to keep us there. They are fighting for our attention. Our attention is our greatest resource. Attention means money. Attention means profit. We just need to use it well. And we need, and we know in the Caribbean that we can capture the attention of our valued and paying customers. And I am personally convinced that we in the Caribbean, we are unique, we are authentic, we have exceptional stories to tell. We just have to believe in ourselves. We have to love each other more. We have to celebrate each other more. And this is exactly why we've launched Exceptional Caribbean, because we are exceptional. We have to tell our stories. We need to fall in love with ourselves more so that the world will fall in love with ourselves. Thank you.
Wonderful. Dr. Gaskin Peters.
Be not afraid of greatness. Some are born great, some achieve greatness, and others have greatness thrust upon them. William Shakespeare. I think for all of us, we fit into some one of those particular categories. For me in particular, I always say that things have been thrust upon me, but I always see them as opportunity. So, there are challenges as women, as we maneuver this industry that we face, but every challenge I see as an opportunity. And there has been nothing that has passed along my pathway that I have, turned it down. So I'm always up to the challenge, always up to growing, moving into new space. And I think for all of us here, and in particular women, When we work, we always focus a lot on impact. And that's the beauty about women. We always think about others. We don't only focus on ourselves. I think that has been a theme that came out throughout the evening, and something that we see in the world as it relates to women. So I think focusing on that impact, focusing beyond ourselves, seeing ourselves as making that impact is what really would be able to transform lives and to transform nations. So I think as we move forward, taking full advantage of every opportunity, taking that greatness, whether we're born with the greatness or whether it is thrust upon it, and seeing every challenge as an opportunity.
Thank you so much. Mireille?
Wow, it has been just amazing. I'm still, pondering everything. But my key message really is to empowerment start with each one of us. We are the one on the platform here, but people watching need to understand that they have a role to play. So, like I said, it's about your mindset. We all have a gift, and discover this gift and use it to empower yourself, but also to empower others. And I'm going to push the button to say dare to excel. And when I talk about dare, it's an acronym here, D, because everything starts with a decision. So we need to decide where we want to be, who we want to be, and who we want to empower. So that's the first thing. Then we need to act, because the implementation is very important. We can talk and have debate, bring ideas. If nothing is implemented, it's not going to happen. And obviously, when we implement things, sometimes things go wrong. And so, but we shouldn't discourage ourselves, because it's when we are at our lowest point that we discover our great potential. So we need to look at it this way. And when we are comfortable, let's expand, let's build up, build up ourselves, build up our community, build up our country, build up our region, whatever it is, because this power that we have and this gift that we have is unlimited. And it's not just me, it's also you watching here. I'm just, creating the avenue for you to understand that.
Wonderful. Sabeeta?
Thank you very, very much, ladies. These are some big shoes to fill. I tell you, an amazing gift you all have had and shared. Thank you for your contribution to the world and to this forum tonight. I would like to transform my eye from innovate to talk to anyone tuning in tonight about being intentional. It is so important that we act with intention with all that we do. We must have a game plan. When you walk in darkness, you don't know where you're going. So the mere act of putting things together, creating a vision, vision board is so important. I tell people everything I'm doing, every step I'm walking today is part of that vision board. I was extremely intentional in every step of my journey. And the other thing is you can't do things alone. We talk about collaboration a lot. The ability to integrate. Together we are stronger. Integration is about synergies. The sum of the parts is actually greater than the individual pieces. And as we move forward, we have seen how collaboration is that new power. It is actually, I joke and I say it is stronger than the US dollar right now, because it is what is going to take us into the eras ahead. The ability to work together, work in teams, be respectful. I think it's so important to be respectful as well in everybody's, when you're intentional and stuff like that, just taking everybody as they come with value. I think it's really important, and appreciating the gift that everyone brings. So we all have a gift to give the world, and we want to encourage you to dig deep and reflect and find that gift. And know that there's a band of us. We're your tribe. We're here. Just reach out.
Wonderful, Sabeeta. Sonia?
They say the two most important days in a man's life is the day he was born and the day he finds out why. Unfortunately, so many people live probably to 70 and 80 and 90 and never knew why they were created. I would like to encourage all of us today to find out why. Sometimes you take it for granted that what you're doing, that is why you were created, and they're very simple questions sometimes that stun many people, like asking, who am I really? Where am I from? Why was I created? What can I contribute to humanity? And many times, sometimes people are afraid even to even venture out in the pursuit of purpose. And failure is a big man that deter people and can paralyze you. But don't be afraid of that at all. Don't be afraid to fail. I feel many times all of us on this call have failed. And it's not a matter of if you're going to fail, it's a matter of when, how many times, and what you're going to do about that. And there are lessons in everything that we think we fail at, and it definitely would not make us failures. And we all have it inside of us. Again, learning to win from that inside. The door to courage and everything else swing from the inside. We can only give you the tools, and we can advise, and we can coach, but you have that key to turn to open that door to whatever it is that you desire to give the world the best version of you.
Wow. Well, to synopsize what I was getting there and to add my 2 cents, I knew somebody was saying it's not just about your arms and legs. So it's not about us just being bipeds or automatons in the world. And certainly we have to use our empathy to work with others to create partnerships, because collective action with creative intelligence is what moves the civilization forward, you know? And adding value. All of us spoke about adding value. One of the words we didn't say as much was compassion. Compassion is a word that is very important, that continues with the empathetic strain. And we must be sentient, because that's how we can be the best caregivers of the future. And another thing that you all talked about is the gift and the blessing. And it's only till recently I acknowledged that I might have had a gift or a talent or a blessing. I didn't. I was just going with the flow. And that is what gives you purpose to now use that gift responsibly and to pursue excellence. And in the pursuit of excellence, you can visualize new possibility. And in the visualization of new possibility, we craft a way for those who come after us to live a better life and have a better life chance. And I think we can close there, ladies. I think it was really, really encouraging. I think we can go on and on. Each one of us has so much that we have offered. And I feel really, again, privileged to have been the host of Inspire You 2022. Thank you, ladies. And
Thank
goodbye
you.
to everyone.